Hi, I know I have already asked you this question, but let me ask you just once again. Have you ever infected someone uh, after having sex with unknown men? Have you experienced any shame in sex? And do you want to learn how a trigger or a reminder of that very bad thing you did is being created? Well, if so, then I think you should stay with me. And in the previous video, I told you that I basically experienced the same thing happenings in three of my jobs, right? And my manager did something to me when I explained to her how people were referring to my life, how they were quoting me. So, how they let me believe I had a phone hacked. And she turned on our CCTV cameras. So, for a very short moment, I had a feeling that she actually did something for me. So, it didn't last for too long because all of a sudden, when I went to get the same free cookies, it turned out that cookies that our company would just give away for free for their employees. Sometimes I had to pay for those cookies, sometimes I didn't have to. And the games with money started too. So, for example, um, I was told that 400 euros was missing from my casa, and I was scared about it. I was worried about it. I asked the accountant if that was a plus, a minus, what happened, and she told me that it was a mistake because something wasn't written in the right way, but the general thing was like, message was like, it's fine, and nothing was actually missing. So, what I have to tell you here is that in the very first job ever, when I worked with burgers, I was selling burgers in my hometown in a club in large stores. The club is already closed, but 400 euros was missing from my casa too. And I was told that I was, implied I was useless because I didn't see that the manager took that money. And when I told him it was missing, I also tried to, search for some solutions like giving money back. So he told me I didn't pay attention and I wasn't good enough because I didn't spot it on time that someone took out the money when I was there. And here's the thing, because later I had the experience of working in two places for a longer period of time when I had to deal with sale, selling food, selling tickets, and I had to use that, cash desk. So each and every time anyone would approach you to do, ask you for a change or to do anything with your money, they would do it in front of you, both of you. And if the manager counts the money later on, you leave your signature. And there is no situation that someone can approach when you're standing back to your cash desk and they can open the cash desk without you being there. They have to ask. You have to be informed about it. So I do not understand what that man actually did. He was Gypsy, and Gypsy people take care of your very first experiences, very first jobs, very first sex, very first date. They like to take care of the very first experience so that experience, they try to make it of lower quality for you, not so joyful for you, and then they try to make it repeat and come back in a circle. So, um, sure thing, back then in Holland when that 400 euros was missing, that's a different story than 400 zloty, and I was scared. So, the story of missing money would come back at me, and that was nice. I was really feeling judged all the time, and I didn't take anything from anyone over there. You know, yeah. Sure thing, when I was a teenager, I took the money from my mom's piggy bank, but for the cigarettes. Um, and when I think of it, the woman who trained me, she actually showed me what she does every day after work and before work. She just writes down how much money she had in her cash desk, and she takes the info home. So, yeah. But I was talking to you about shame and infecting people and building a trigger, right? So, one of my friends, Inga, she told me she had the sun allergy, which is pretty interesting for me because, um, you know, 2 years later, I end up in being in London, walking with an umbrella and telling people I had the sun allergy, which I did not have. But okay, so Inge had the sun allergy and she had really weird looking acne on her fingers. And I don't know why. I touched her. I was scared of infection. I did that to someone and I was scared of it. And I don't understand how could I touch her, but I did. So all of a sudden I started to have at least two different, acne on my fingers. And whenever I had to sell tickets, whenever I had to hand in the tickets to anyone, then I would have the feeling that people were judging me, that people were looking at me, that people were scared that I would infect them with something, that people wouldn't trust me, and so on and so on. I had all the time uh, the topic of infection in my mind, and that was my reminder. What I had on my two fingers was a reminder. And if I didn't experience that, if I didn't feel what was it like, then I would never think about my uncle pedophile, I'm sorry. You know, so my uncle pedophile had two fingers frozen together, and it was because he was scared of coming back home. So in winter, he chose to sleep in the basement, and as a result of that, he got his two fingers frozen together. And as we can imagine, he had to hurt someone with those two fingers, right? And I believe it was done so that it would function as this reminder, so that every day he could look and see his own deeds in his memory and go over and over those memories. That's how it is done. Well, in my case, it was done with visuals. Not only I had this acne skin atopy, I have learned, that it could be skin inflammation, which helped me somehow, handle it. Because I had to take the injection for a corona, so I had to see a doctor for like a few seconds, and I asked her about that acne. What's that? And yeah, I believe during that time it was just the largest number of people ever I have seen that all of a sudden had skin problems, skin something, some weird looking skin. And that would scare me too. So not only it was the trigger on me, but it was a visual trigger from other people too. Which is kind of, people say we attract, what we think about. And this, yeah, could be to some degree, of course, true, but it also is the effect of covert hypnosis and affecting your visual perception too. So coming back to the subject of my uncle pedophile, one of my sisters long ago dated a man who was a gypsy and who had the very same two fingers that were got together, stuck together. He couldn't move them. And I believe it's a type of a relocation. Like, they make one accident happen to someone. I asked my sister what was that. I was told he had an accident when working on a machine. I think it could have been done on purpose so that that function as a relocation of one accident that goes to another person, so that another person has this physical and, this steady reminder that will never go away anywhere, right? And I'm telling you that also I believe I was supposed to act out the life of my uncle in my life. Why? Because I had an accident at work and I cut my finger over here, and I was told that I was lucky because I was near to cut it in such a place so that I would never move my finger. Excuse me again. So my uncle couldn't move his fingers too, and whenever he called home, well, adults didn't want to talk to him. They would pass the phone to children. And I had a period when, after having those incidents with hacked phone, or hacked phone, however you like to see it, you can think, it just seemed to me and I thought about it, I attracted it, or it really happened. I don't care what you think, but my family believed I was mad, and my mother went to the court to file a motion against me. So during that time, I just planned to never come back home. So in that sense, as my uncle never got married, and I never got married, and I was, not good at creating relationships. So he wasn't allowed to get back home, and I, in some moments of time, really believed that I would never get back home. That was my idea when in response to the motion. So really, the way it works is that you have either a visual around you, people around you who will remind you with their bodies, with their physical conditions of what you did to someone. Either someone will just tell you explicitly, like my friend Clara told me, you're going to infect us all, Kinga. Or it's enough they will start talking about coronavirus, and corona is basically about infecting people, but not with it's not so, it's rather accidental, right? But it's got this idea of infecting. So it's enough somebody would mention that, and that causes some kind of discomfort and brings in mind those thoughts about what you did, and you never admit it until years have gone by and you finally said it. Yeah. Right. Sure thing, I write more about triggers and I talk more about those reminders triggers in my course, Amelia, and on my website. So if you're curious about the course, you will find the link to the course in the description. The price till Friday is very attractive. It's €6, and if you think you would like to learn something more about, the system and magic and symbolism and colored hypnosis, then you need to get a free copy of my book. And to do that, you just need to drop me a line at elkinga788@gmail.com. So if you like this video, please click the like button. If you like this video, please share it with other people too. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching.